Well, hello people, and welcome to an asset showcase of everything new in the Netherlands region pack for Cities 2, courtesy of the wonderful creators Feinbold, Jazz, Grooney, and Revo, who have all collaborated to put this pack together, and we'll also cover the dev diary that came out from Colossal Order yesterday in this video at the same time. This pack is free to download on Paradox Mods, and with it you get two different styles of low density housing, new row homes, new apartments, new low rent, and a bunch of new service buildings. So let's get stuck into it, shall we? First of all, we're met with our low-density gable and gambrel roof housing, which can be found in your low-density specializations here. And these are very small and very nice. CS2 does not have an awful lot of 1x1 or 1x2 or 3 assets, of which this pack fixes immensely. And they're not too themed either. You could definitely get away with using these houses in, I guess, a lot of mostly Western European themes. You probably get away with these. Obviously, these look UK as much as they look Dutch, you know. Maybe Germany and France, you could probably get away with them too. But small housing, very welcome. Many different prop variations out the back. The fronts have different little window awnings on them. Variations in the roofs, and there's an awful lot of them as well. Of course, with your variant levels, little hot tubs in the back here too. Really nice gardens, right? Get the detail you're getting in there with your zoning. Little balconies are also very nice as well, aren't they? And it changes up slightly here. So tons of different assets here. You're missing out on your low density options. You're gonna get a lot of choice. Of course, becomes so much more flexible with your mods too. We'll now switch over to the second style here, where you can see it moves into a different style of roof. For which, again, there's many different variants of props and detailing at the back of the houses as it moves through its various levels. But small, discrete housing. It's pretty much all of them here. There is a ton of assets in this game if you include all the variables, but all in this pack rather. But that's just small, very small housing, which is very welcome. So like I said, there's not a ton of small assets in CS2. We'll now move on to the Dutch row homes, which is probably what you're all thinking when you think about this pack, which is your kind of quintessential Amsterdam street front, right? Really nice. Look at the texture work on this. Isn't that brilliant? These asset makers are just incredibly talented, aren't they? Amazing. I stuck a few of them together here so you can get the classic impression. They've even got the little kind of like basement floor on them as well, which is so cool. And if you frame that in this shot, I've spoken many times on the channel before about how important like a layer of depth is for a city. Bad Peanuts assets from CS1 being an example of that. But I really love that, right? Just that little bit of depth by the pavement. Brilliant. Really nice. Again, maybe many different levels, slight variance between them all as they move around. Some stairs as well. We all love how powerful stairs are. So if you're interested in Amsterdam recreation, this pack, along with quite a few of the base game European assets to be fair, make it a very real possibility now. You can really get some very strong central Amsterdam vibes with all these buildings. I'm sure many other Dutch cities as well, not specifically Amsterdam. But really nice. Look at the detail and like the little marble arch there. With the hook, isn't that just so nice? Incredible detailing on them. A slight change up here again. Different size zoning comes in. Again, so many varied fronts, aren't there? Windows, stairs, multiple doors, stairs and basements. Stuck another big chunk of them together here so you can get an impression of their wall-to-wall facility. Isn't that just so nice? I really like assets that add a lot to the street. And these Dutch ones most certainly do that, don't they? Getting a bit of double stair action with basement there too. Just superb. And all the little rooftops are varied. There's like so many different styles, isn't there? As you look across the row. But you definitely want to put these wall to wall. They're very white or grey on the edge of them, so I think they have to be sandwiched between something. You have to be very careful with your zoning as well if you're planning to zone these in, I think. But many a variation. Seeing some new stuff in here too now. As you move through those levels, slightly more domed roofs. A different style of roof here. Still with different shop variants, 3 doors this time. Brilliant. Fantastic. And as you can see, there's hundreds of them. it doesn't stop. It's kind of wild how much content CS2, I know it has its problems at the minute, but for how much content you're getting for free here, like these packs are bigger than some of the CS1 DLCs. That's all for free, of course. Which is definitely one of the few feathers CS2 has in its hat at the minute of these asset packs. They're very nice. Some more variants here too. Still different styles coming in this far down the road. It's crazy, isn't it? They've really made so many different assets. Which brings you to the end of your row home selection for the Netherlands pack. That's not even all of them. I've excluded the repetitive level 2 and 4 meshes from that selection, so there's even more variants, which is crazy. Next up, you'll notice all of these assets, they're all very small zoned. Basically nothing more than 3 deep is available here, which is very nice. Next up, we have our medium density apartment solution for the Netherlands pack. Which again, isn't too overly stylized. You could chuck these in a UK inspired city very easily. Especially these bits out the back, right? All those balconies, that's so UK, or I guess so Western Europe in this case, I think, isn't it? Very nice. I guess Eastern Europe too. These kind of apartment blocks aren't too unfamiliar with that part of the world, are they? But so they're all covered in balconies. Some of them do look a little bit mixed use, but they're not mixed use. They are just residential. You can see how they change and adapt and switch up as they move through their different levels. Lots of wall-to-wall functionality again here with these two. With tons of balconies. Little detailed surface gardens in there too. Same with this one. Little patio and chairs and sun lounger out the back. So some smaller apartment solutions are definitely very welcome. Don't have to go too wall to wall with these because they've got the bricks texture on the side, so not as blunt as the white texture buildings. But super nice. You see, it's kind of a subtle change between most of them as they go up between levels 1 through 5. Basically just get an extra floor, maybe a couple of extra solar panels on, don't they? Very nice. Going to some of the corner units here now. Our left corner buildings, which I always love a corner asset. And these will piece together very nice into a 4x4 block, won't they? I guess 2x2 in terms of the asset. But 4 total assets to create a nice block there in your city centres. All different levels and sizes. Tons of different garden variation too, right? You don't be seeing too much of the same thing, I don't think. Getting taller. A couple of different designs here as well. Very new designs here as this corner unit hits its level 5 variant. Nice balconies at the back again too. Little, I guess, chimney is what that is. Same again here. Getting chunkier as they move up. The new corner assets here as well. Again, a little bit of move it with these. You can turn them into so many different things. Especially when you start getting the repeated angles on these buildings. Piece something taller in the middle of them. Lots of different opportunities. Love this one here with the balconies. And the little curved windows on it. Very nice. And then our right hand variants of everything we've just seen. Will of course complete your medium apartment selection for the Netherlands pack. Which brings us to our last zonables, the low rent housing. Which of course reflects the life of low renters. Much more just housing flats and blocks here, right? Lots of Eastern European vibes with these. Lots of these look like an asset from Workers and Resources actually. One of the flats where you house your workers, almost identical. But again, as they move through their levels, they gain a bit of width, an extra floor or so. There's a very nice low rent apartment block, isn't it? It's got a rooftop jacuzzi. Goodness me. They're doing well in the Netherlands, aren't they? More balcony detailing all on the back. So this is a really fun one. So there's a few of these. So this is one asset here. I'm a huge fan of seeing multiple buildings on the same asset. Really like that, because that makes this space in the middle really detailable for adding things at the back of it. expand this into another asset repeated of this just behind it, and there's tons of different things you can do with that. So I'll be more than happy to see multiple buildings as part of the same asset for future zonings. Big fan of that. Same here again too, right? Singular building here. All these as it moves through its variants. The joined buildings, different variant here too. With the detail in the middle. A really nice idea for a bit of zoning, isn't it? Hopefully we'll see a bit more of this in different themes and styles as these packs hopefully continue to come out. But beyond that, they're pretty small one. They're pretty discreet, but it'll give you a small asset choice, you know, because all the low rent housing, they're all like massive towers, which isn't what you want a lot of the time. So this Netherlands low rent will definitely get a lot of use, I think. So an absolute enormous residential expansion in your asset pool there. Hundreds of them in many different variants and shapes and sizes and styles, so enjoy. Onto our service buildings. We'll start down here with our Netherlands substation, which is a nice little discrete industrial brick building you can bring power into your cities with. Again, can be repurposed into many industrial areas, I think. As can this be repurposed into, definitely I think, kind of like a town centre monument, right? Almost looks like a bit of an observation tower or a clock tower, perhaps. But of course it is a water tower. Doesn't have any upgrades, but new water infrastructure. We then have our small Netherlands clinic next door, which is very nice. This is only a small building, which is, again, very welcome. We measure it, is it 6 units? Yeah. So all the other clinics are really big. So smaller service buildings are always welcome. But nice little clinic. Bays and ambulances around the back of it. Definitely get used in the early game for sure. The hospital is next door, which is, again, we have Ziekenhuis, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which I'm assuming means hospital. It significantly increases its footprint with its upgrade, and then it also has a cardiology annex as well in its fully upgraded state. But I really like this. I love the little rotunda on the front, if you can call it that. Nice detail around it as well. Nice hospital, fairly decent size too, so big fan. We now move on to my favourite bit of the pack. Now we'll spend a bit of time talking about the Dutch cemetery, which is very cool. So you'll notice it has tons of upgrades on it. Now this essentially gives you a modular cemetery. Now all of these pathways here, you can see coming off the asset, can all be drawn out. Now I'll draw one out here, as an example. And then when we come to add on, let's say, a large columbarium, you can snap these on here, and then your pathways connect, giving you true modular cemeteries, everyone. Isn't this amazing? You can even snap them onto existing roads you've already drawn. And guess what? There's no anarchy. It just works. It just works. And this makes me, the vanilla player, very happy. Because you can now have so much fun with that, right? Like, true, actual modular cemeteries. And you can piece them together in whatever way you deem fit. Of course, you've still got the radius of the building, which is quite big as well. So, you know, you can be placing parks all the way out here, and as long as they have the path connection to it, it'll work. And you can make pretty enormous and very vast cemeteries now, which is really cool. So you get sub-buildings, of course. Everything here is a sub-building. We've also got burial site filler here as well. Isn't that fun? And these don't even need to be connected either, do they? My word, everyone. And they actually come with a storage capacity. Although someone's being paid 36 grand a month to maintain that. Is that the whole cemetery? It must be, right? No, it's not. The whole cemetery is even more. But, case in point, modular cemeteries come with the Netherlands pack, which makes it a reason to download it alone. Very much looking forward to seeing what everyone comes up with using that. Rejoice in the modular cemetery, everyone. And then to accompany that, there is also a Netherlands crematorium next door as well, which has a singular modular upgrade next door to it. But this is a much more, I think, realistic looking, very much more discreet death care, this crematorium, isn't it? So I really like this. Definitely one of my favourite service assets, I think. That and the cemetery. Next door to this, we have our first school, which is the Dutch Elementary. We can add a playground and also an extension wing to the side, for which you can have as many, which really actually extends the asset quite nicely there, doesn't it? Very nice. You also get the playground. There's some really cool, I guess, crayon art in the courtyard with the flags and the Dutch houses, with some playground detailing on that building behind. Next door to this, we have the Dutch High School, which includes an extension wing, which adds quite the building onto the back of it. Also a rooftop chemistry lab as well, which gives you an extra floor. But nice, again, I love this archway on it. That'll be really nice to integrate with people driving in and out of that onto your streets. I think this will be a really nice corner building, especially with all the walkable surface space you can have at the bottom of this, right? Bottom of the higher school. Which is Hoge School, which is quite funny. Next door to this, we have the College Auditorium, which is your college education for the Netherlands pack. This one right here. So 750 college capacity. Which is a nice building. Almost looks like you want maybe 2 or 3 of these to kind of complete the edges of it. This is going to be quite fusible. I think, you know what, just even just stick it next door to this one. But nice asset, definitely get used, of course. More education solutions are always welcome. The Dutch University is big cube number. It also has an auditorium upgrade alongside a research laboratory, which just increases the density in that central courtyard. But nice enough again, we can see, what are those, everyone? Bike racks, question mark. We'll come on to bikes a little bit later on in the video when we cover the Colossal Order dev diary. But this is a nice university. It's not too big either, because a lot of the university assets are bloody massive. But that one's alright. Small fire station next door, and again, in theme with the rest of the Dutch pack, it is very small. Very welcome. Then the large Dutch fire station next door, which has a couple of upgrades, usual helipad, and fire engine capacity stuff out the back. Dutch police station sits next door, which has a rooftop upgrade, and also an administrative wing to give you another small, relatively modern looking, not too themed service building, with polite on the edge, which I'm guessing they're not just very nice, that's probably Dutch for police. So we'll assume that, I think. But you know, it's going to get used, it's very welcome, and it's more police station variation. Next door is perhaps one of the most impressive, and maybe my new favourite train station in the game, the Dutch train station, of course, which doesn't have any upgrades. But it does have some very nice car parking, a ton of bike racks out the front, with some really nice bus service facility also available out the front as well. And the platform and the station roof itself looks awesome. Really, really nice central station, this one. So a big fan of that. I really like it. Also with a little underground section there as well, which comes out over there, it looks like. Hopefully that's going to be a functional connection. But yeah, big old train station. You get 3 platforms on it. Next door to this, we have certainly one of the more unique buildings I've ever liked to see, the Holland Heritage Windmill Park, which has a gift and small cafe shop upgrade, which is very cool. Definitely more kind of a, I guess it's a heritage museum really, isn't it? You won't going to use this in any other capacity. And probably not outside of a Dutch city. But, you know, there's windmills elsewhere in the world. But, super unique, and I love the animation on it that actually rotates. I like that. And that nice detailing around the bottom as well. Surfaces and benches and whatnot. As we come to the end, we arrive at the historical post office, which is a unique building, so you're only placing one of these. It also has a city museum upgrade along the back of it as well. But this doesn't really scream post office. I think more generic municipal service, a council or a government building. I think in a city centre will work very nicely as a town hall. If those that follow my channel, the classic town centre, right? This is going to make a good centrepiece for that. The post office is small and next door. But not too much to say about this one. Just a brick post office. Looks kind of like some of the apartments, really. So you'll be able to blend this in with your residential areas quite nicely because it looks basically the same. And then the few props that come with the Netherlands pack are all these stuff from the cemetery pillars, the gates, a couple of urns, a bollard, or 2 bollards, and a couple of walls as well. Completes your showcase for everything new in the Netherlands pack, which is an absolute beast. Seriously big, and a massive shout out again to Feinbold, Jez, Grooney, and Revo for their work here. Another testament to how amazingly talented and beautiful the Cities Skylines creators are with the talent that they have in these engines. Now let's jump in and take a look at the dev diary that released yesterday that covers some information on the future of Cities 2. So we'll cover the dev diary here that released yesterday with this video, so you can just get an idea of what's happening. This is not tied to a specific patch or release. This is just kind of an update from them as to what's going on. I'll leave this link down below as well if you're interested. Little note on bridges and ports. They're coming close to release it. They don't have a release date yet, but very soon. We can also expect 2 developer diaries diving into bridges and ports. And they've also shared a screenshot of what's like functional barriers as a drawbridge lifts up, which is very exciting. I was a big fan of the bridges that got added in the free update. So the bridge expansion, I think you'll like a lot of these networks that come with the pack. Very fun indeed. Bicycles, everyone, huge moment as they finally show off bikes with some very green bike lanes that will obviously be tweaked, I'm sure. But we can see, for the first time, people on bikes, which is very exciting. They go on to confirm they will be added in a future free update and available to anyone who owns the base game, so they won't be tied to a DLC. They then go on to say they intended them to always be a core feature. During development, they suffered delays. If you want to read this, it's down below if you want to see the reason why you don't have bikes yet. Bicycle lanes will be added using the road upgrade tool, and we can add bicycle lanes to existing roads. In addition to the road upgrade, we'll also get standalone bicycle pathways like in CS1 where they'll function similar to pedestrian paths, so you can offer those bike highways through the city again. We can even see in this little shot here, it looks like bike hire, right? Kind of like a bike hire place here, like the Boris bikes in London, which is a really cool bit of bike expansion infrastructure. I really like seeing that. Hopefully we'll get lots more kind of bike themed buildings, little higher points and whatnot. So I like the way they're taking the cycling. Hopefully that's not going to be too long before that arrives in the game. And there'll also be new policies to influence cycling, pretty much like we had in CS1 really, wasn't it? To encourage cycling and whatnot. Something old and something new. They are adding a series of old town buildings to both the themes, European and North American styles. And a bit of a preview as to what they're going to look like. Just older, more, I guess, European. Style, more kind of German, Austrian vibes around here, isn't it? But both themes will get them, which is always nice. It's more free assets, so you can't really complain at that. New stuff will come. They are still in the works, and they all also arrived with new service buildings, which includes a smaller cemetery, a new campfire site with an outdoor sauna, new depots and stations for existing public transport options, including a new tram station. So free assets are on the way. I'm always happy to see them add this. It's something they did much later in life in CS1 was start adding free stuff with the updates. So I hope it's something CS2 continues to do. And they're also going to be adding a drop-down menu to the vehicle selection on your lines, so you can add multiple different types of vehicle to a line rather than it just being one, which is cool. I suppose I can't really see a real-world function of that. Maybe you could have some electric buses on the line, but what impact that has on the simulation, I'm not sure. Maybe more of an aesthetic choice this, but I guess we'll see when we get our hands on that. There's also a paragraph here on how broken tourism has been and why it's broken. Resource calculations for hotels weren't correct, so tourists weren't consuming the right amount of lodging, which is baked into the commercial simulation rather than being a separate thing, which I think is a bit of a strange choice, but there's information here on what they're doing to fix the tourism and why it's been broken. And then exactly the same again with the post service, which has also had fixes and then would appear to do nothing or very little. And then fixes with the post sorting facility as well. So in terms of my own thoughts on this little dev diary update from Colossal Order, I guess much more information will come in the next 2 that they've teased after this one. They say they've finished bridges and ports, but unfortunately this doesn't even tease a release date, which is a bit of a shame. Hoping for October for that, maybe, but maybe it's going to be a little later, more towards the end of the year when we see bridges and ports. It's cool to see bikes for the first time. Although again, no release date teased or mentioned towards these as well, but at least we have finally seen screenshots of them, but yet to see a release date on those as well. The new assets are always nice. I can't really complain at these. Interesting that there's still no reference or mention to a DLC post Bridges and Ports. There's no further planned expansions that have been announced at least. Maybe this could be the expansion, but I'm kind of interpreting this to be the series of free stuff that they add to the game, like the free parks and the new roads and stuff. That's how I'm reading this, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe this is the next DLC. Who knows? I'm reading these as though these are free, but I guess it doesn't actually say that. Now, in terms of the bug fixes that they mention, this for me, I don't really play CS for its simulation. I find it's obviously still not working nearly 2 years after launch. But they even mention here in this dev diary update that they have fixed it before in various different patches throughout last year, and it's still not working. So take this with a pinch of salt, because I imagine it probably won't be the last time we see the simulation mentioned in the context of ongoing development. And then the elephant in the room, or lack of the elephant, we should say, is they didn't mention asset editor or console here once, which is still quite concerning, I think. Still no screenshots of that, which I think is I think the scariest thing is there's still not even a screenshot or a trailer for the console edition. So who knows when console is going to come, if it's going to come. The asset editor hopefully isn't too far away. They're obviously very capable of making new assets, as are other content creators, like we've seen with the whole collection of region packs. It seems custom assets can be made, so hopefully that's not too far away from it making its way to the actual game, so people can begin to publish them. But again, no mention of that, so I'm not sure what the bugs are with the asset editor. And who knows what the console version currently looks like as of the making of this video. But to summarise, it's quite exciting to see the Bridges and Ports pack nearly here and the first screenshots of cycling, but there's still kind of a lot of rough edges left to be answered, fixed, and without any major deadlines. In the future, it's going to be an interesting rest of 2025 for Cities 2, I think. Let me know what you think of the dev diary and the Netherlands region pack down below. Let's keep a conversation going in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next CS2 update video. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.